John Maynard Keynes, probably the greatest economist of the 20th century, was also a friend of Wittgenstein, and said of him, when he arrived back, when he was entreated to go back to Cambridge, he did all other kinds of things. I'll come back to J.M. Keynes in a moment, but he went to work with monks. He wasn't exactly religious in that sense, in the ritual sense, but he was deeply spiritual. Of that there was no question. And it was a student, a very young student, brilliant mathematics student, who died in the First World War, came across to persuade him that the Tractatus, his work, was one of the greatest of the century, and he should and had to go back to Cambridge, England, to expound on it, really, because it was difficult. Wittgenstein was sufficiently persuaded, and he did go back. And it was John Maynard Keynes who said to his wife, when Wittgenstein arrived at the station, Victoria and Albert, I think, he said, "God has arrived," thinking, or being ironic, naturally enough, that the God in question was Wittgenstein. It was him. But something strange happened in the meantime. With this gesticulation, for example, from Schraffer that I mentioned earlier, and basically crowd language, which doesn't really consist of strict propositions in relation to facts, was very much a part of human meaning. And that part of human meaning he missed out on and wanted to return to. Russell himself, the co-author of Principia Mathematica with Whitehead, was appalled and alarmed by this move from Wittgenstein, the mathematician, logician, to someone who would say things like, "If a lion could talk, we would not understand it." So Wittgenstein was moving towards a much more social, if I could put it like this, version of what human meaning amounted to. And it wasn't simple colligation, if you like, of propositions and facts. It was something more, something much greater. And for this reason, he developed, you would hardly call them theories, and by the way, I might mention that the book, which was not published in his lifetime, consisted of the strangest kinds of questions, such as the ones, or some of the ones that I mentioned. If a lion can speak, we would not understand him. And he developed not theories, you wouldn't call them philosophical theories as such, but moves of thinking that had never been known before. For example, he would talk about games, language games, in which, for example, there are no strict rules to anything that we do in life. These strictures that we think exist really do not. Everything is movable and in flux, and to that extent, I suppose, he went back to Heraclitus, who said that everything is in a state of flux. What did he mean by that? It's very difficult to explain in a very brief period of time. But basically he said that, and reflecting on his own previous theories about propositions and facts, he says, no, that cannot be the case. What is happening is that there are language games that we play, that he turned life into playfulness, not in the childish sense, but in the sense that life was movable and not at all static, and propositions were not strictly related to the facts that they were appropriate to. No, things changed all the time. And he spoke about language games.